Welcome to the Schmucks of the Galaxy podcast. I am your world's biggest fan of your left pinky, Toby. I don't know.
Get the fuck out!
Who are you? Who the fuck are you?
I don't know why I was gonna say Gorilla Grodd, but now I kind of want to be the kid pickle tickle.
Well, you better make a fucking decision.
I'll tickle your pickle.
But
And, yeah,
well, who are you?
I'm it, the kid pickle tickler.
What's your name?
My name's Ben.
They're old. And who the fuck are you?
I'm going to steal your tagline from the first one, and I'm going to just say I'm the destroyer of worlds purely because I'm probably going to be really negative about everything we're about to talk about,
Yeah.
and we're going to tear it down.
But what's your name?
But who the fuck
Who
are
the
you?
fuck are you?
Hey!
That was the most
That's my
cancer-
name.
That was
15
disgusting.
seconds.
Wow, we're on a fucking roll today. Who are you?
It's that kind of day.
My name can't just be
No. Hi, Zach.
A. Hey.
So, if you're wondering
I'm
what...
terrible at coming up with fucking shit, dude.
Yeah. Also, we need a fact checker to see if that's what I said in the first episode. Otherwise, I'm gonna fucking
I'm pretty sure.
lock you in your room and make you listen to Lazy Town.
Actually, can I be Shrock the Cock Rock?
You know what?
Oh!
I admire your ambition. Yes, you can.
Okay, let's move on with this.
Dwayne the Schrock Thompson.
Okay, let's get.
That's disgusting.
Let's be careful now. We don't want to give him any more ideas. Granted, speaking of ideas,
Yeah.
Sony is chock full of terrible ones. Ghostbusters, the Amazing Spider-Man franchise,
Right.
the Emoji Movie, Dark Tower.
I actually saw Dark Tower
Oh, really?
yesterday because my dad was really excited to see it. He was like, "It looks so cool. Let's go watch it." I'm like, "Dad,
Oh,
it's
no.
bad. Trust me."
But what did
And
you
then
think?
we ended up seeing it. It wasn't an 18% that like how it says on Rotten Tomatoes,
Right.
but it's not that great.
I walked in on a part at work, and it's literally them going, "You promised you wouldn't get into another fade at school," and he just looks at them and goes, "Yeah, I guess sorry, Mom." I was like, "Fuck this movie."
Here's the thing. The movie has some cool moments and moments where you can see like the brilliance of the book itself. But the problem is that you can tell Sony was like, "This is too scary."
they,
So,
they made the kid have like a way bigger part than he does in the books.
Is he even in the books?
I don't remember, but I
No,
think
he is. He is.
yeah, I'm sure most of it.
Can we get a fact checker on the Dark Tower?
No one cares. No, like most of it centers on Roland,
Right, the gunslinger.
and
right?
they completely just have it be like one of those teenage, find yourself coming of age, learn how to use your dick type movies.
Oh, my favorite.
It's really bad.
So the only thing I know about the Dark Tower is I was on a Reddit mega thread of the movie, and someone said that there's just one good part in the movie, at least from their point of view, and it was that at a certain point, I forget the context, but Roland is like, "Oh, your animals don't talk on your planet," and it's like, "Wait, what?"
Here's
It's
the
like a joke in the movie.
Here's the thing. Like I said earlier, you can see that you can see like moments within the movie where you can see that the book itself is like a really brilliant
The
horror
director
fantasy.
apparently was a huge
kinda
fan of
novel.
the books, and Sony really was like, "Hey, cut that shit out."
Yeah, settle down.
Really, because
Make this shit
yeah.
bad, boy.
Because Stephen King said it perfectly. He was like, what this movie was missing was an R rating.
Yeah.
And he's totally right. If the movie was rated R and was handled more as a horror film, like they're going to handle the upcoming Spawn movie,
Right.
that would actually be perfect because I think
Yeah.
the casting itself is all really good. But the
Yeah.
problem is that they took an otherwise awesome fantasy world,
And just made it into a teen action movie.
yeah, and they made it as cliche as possible. But there was one scene that was actually really cool where I saw some promise. I'm probably going to spoil stuff, so
I don't really care.
warning, but nobody gives a shit because it's Dark Tower. So they kill off the main character's parents, like during the movie.
Good.
And I thought that was actually kind of interesting because they never do that in these types of films. Everyone ends up okay. That was cool.
Some little kid's gonna be in there and be like,
I know.
You're
No!
like, what the fuck?
He's gonna look.
Yeah.
Okay, so some little kid's gonna be in the theater, and he's gonna look at his parents, and they're just gonna start fading away, like in that scene from Back to the Future where Marty's
Ew.
looking at the picture of his family.
And yeah, the
he's
kid's in the book.
disappearing.
Kid's in the book.
Oh, he is in the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically,
I just don't think
yeah.
he's like as much of a focus.
No, he really isn't. Another thing that the movie did well is there are moments, just moments, when the actual like aesthetic and art design looks really good.
Right.
But the thing is, though, is that's about 3 minutes of the film. And when you look at like the comic book adaptation they've done, that has art by Jai Lee.
By whom?
It's Jay or Jai Lee.
By whom? Jai Courtney?
No, that would be disgusting. I feel like everyone would look like a G.I. Joe character if Jai Courtney could draw.
If everyone was Captain Boomerang.
Oh my god. But basically, like, the comic book itself has a really nice look. And I feel like there are little moments and they adapted that aesthetic, like, really well. But most of the time, it looks really generic and there's, like, no color scheme. There's no, like, nice pattern to any of the architecture in the movie. And there are literal monsters that literally look like people wrap themselves up in toilet paper like a mummy and then put goggles on. And it looks like really shitty Rey cosplays from the beginning of Star Wars. And I was like, this is awful.
Oh my god, that's funny as
but
hell.
Pluses, the casting is really good. Idris Elba as the gunslinger is perfect.
Right.
And Matthew McConaughey, even though some of his lines are really bad, cheesy, and just rapey, frankly, he pulls them off really well.
I'm gonna put it in your mouth, boy.
He pulls them off really well, though, because Matthew McConaughey is a good actor.
Suck my tower.
Whoa.
Ew.
It's
not dark, but it's still a tower.
Okay, let's change the subject.
But yeah, it's really, really good. Okay, so on to the Venom movie.
Yes, that's what I wanted to get to, is that Sony is chock full of bad ideas. And the next one they have down the pipeline, minus Jumanji, is...
You hear about the Carnage casting?
Well, that's part of it, but we'll get to there.
Okay, all right.
But not yet.
No, not yet.
But the Venom movie is a thing that hopefully won't happen, but at this time of recording, it's going to happen.
Let's just do the world a favor and 9/11 Sony Pictures.
Okay, let's...
Whoa.
Jesus Christ.
That was quite the strong statement.
I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just so tired of it all.
Yeah.
My God.
Just give it a rest. You're killing them. You're killing them all.
I would just like to preface that he's not inciting violence on Sony Pictures.
It's like the South Park episode with the Indiana Jones, and it's with George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, and they rape Indiana Jones repeatedly because Crystal Skull was so bad.
Right.
Yeah, Crystal
You're
Skull's
raping him!
Jesus.
You're raping Tom Hardy!
Well, I sincerely hope that doesn't happen, but I think the three of us all fear that it's going to happen. But until we know anything concrete about the movie...
I just don't know enough to be like, no, it's bad.
Exactly. So, like, there's a slim hope that maybe this movie will be decent.
Well, going in, I think... I'm a bit conflicted because while I know the movie itself is just going to be a fucking fire, that just engulfs everything we love about Spider-Man and just burns it alive.
I just want to warn you that the kids these days use fire as a positive slang and lingo, so you might want to be careful. You might be confusing the kiddos out there.
It's 9/11. It's all 9/11.
Oh my God.
What is it? 9/11 stuff.
I don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
But basically,
what's in your tea?
9/11.
It's like you look in like his tea and you just see like reflections and horrible memories like within the liquid, like in Harry Potter. You know what I'm talking about?
I just wanted to talk about Venom, but man, we're like not even 10 minutes in and we're already talking about 9/11.
Well, basically, what I'm going to say is this. So the movie itself is going to be shit. But I also feel like there's a part of me, like a 5-year-old in me, that feels like seeing like Venom in live action and having him genuinely look good, unlike in Spider-Man 3, would be like a dream. You know what I mean?
Topher Grace is my favorite actor.
Okay, let me say this.
And Tom Hardy is like a great choice.
Absolutely, but I didn't think Venom and Spider-Man 3 looked bad. It was just that the only thing that bothered me, other than Topher Grace being not even that, like that was fine, but it was that he was too slim. Like Venom is supposed to be like this Hulk of a...
Yeah, he's a bodybuilder, yeah.
Eddie Brock is like this shitty ass journalist who's like...
He was just a little bitch. That's basically...
Well, in Spider-Man 3, but
in
Eddie Brock...
in the movie.
Yeah, but Eddie Brock is supposed to be like this extremely unethical journalist who gets the symbiote, and you combine these two really like negative personalities, and it eventually turns into like some sort of anti-hero. And it's especially interesting when you like bring in the whole Spider-Man conflict, you know. But my biggest fear about this movie is that
there won't be.
Well, there has been a rumor that maybe this will be a continuation to the Andrew Garfield universe, which would be really cool. But if this is just,
but why?
I propose that question, but at the same time,
I kind of would be okay with that.
Do we want two Spider-Men at the same
That'd be
time.
kind of cool to
Well,
have a
we're
multiverse,
already getting to
potentially.
Spider-Man because Sony's also making
They
an
should
animated
do-
movie about Miles Morales.
Well, then they should just scrap Garfield and just do A Tale of Two Kitties.
Okay,
No,
now.
and
I would just like to preface that he is not inciting to watch Garfield: The Tale of Two Kitties.
no, you better fucking watch that movie. It's the best.
There's your homework,
They
kiddos.
should not just don't have Peter. Actually do Miles in the Venom one. Like, why do we need the same?
And have it
character?
be further down the timeline.
Yeah, why do we need the same character but like two different actors at the same time?
I mean, it could be cool if they interpreted it as an Elseworld story.
That would be fine with me as well. I just think that they're jumping the gun
I agree.
purely because they know
Either
that
that or he
Marvel
won't be in it at all because they don't
Right,
want to
right.
have
Yeah.
to.
So
Here's another thing.
Yeah.
For Spider-Man 3, I actually want to give that movie credit.
Sure.
And I know this is going to piss people off,
well,
but
I don't hate it.
I
as
don't
much
hate the
as
movie as
like,
much as other
it's
people
my
do.
favorite movie.
Like, don't get,
I hate
yeah.
the emo dance scene, but other than that, like,
Sure.
I don't hate the movie.
But this is how I feel.
For a
Like,
second, I thought you said emu dance, and like,
I would. That would
emu,
have been so much
ew.
better.
But yeah, the movie's actually, I think, smarter than people give it credit for. Like, Eddie Brock being slim and everything and being a journalist felt like genuinely they were going for a dark mirror of Peter Parker, where he's like
Yeah.
a slim dude who's down on his luck. But unlike Peter Parker, for instance, he just is a bit more unethical. And with Peter Parker having the black suit on, it's I felt like they took a more upfront way of having Spider-Man or Peter Parker ruin Eddie Brock's life, because he literally is the reason why, like,
Yeah.
Eddie Brock hates Peter Parker.
exactly.
They should have just scrapped Sandman and
Yeah, emo
Goblin.
dance scene. I actually feel like because Peter Parker is such like a stereotypical dork in the Sam Raimi movies,
I guess if you look
to
at it
him,
that way,
to him it's cool
Yeah.
to be emo, and this was
That's probably
2007
the
as
nicest
well.
way to look
Like,
at that scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sam Raimi definitely has.
But it's not his fault.
He
it's
has
the
a knack
studio.
of doing
Yeah.
some pretty. Well, I don't know about that. I feel like Spider-Man 3 is like the polar opposite of Amazing Spider-Man 2, where Spider-Man 3 is they basically.
It's way better than Amazing Spider-Man.
Well,
2.
yeah, but let me put it this way: like Spider-Man 3 is the most Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie because they aside from the fact that Sony were the ones who forced Venom into the movie, there's so much stuff in Spider-Man 3 that's so fucking bizarre that it reeks of Sam Raimi. Like the only other
Yeah,
movie
sure.
that's kind of like Spider-Man 3 in terms of how much Sam Raimi stuff is Army of Darkness.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
it's so fucking goofy at times, you kind of don't know if it's good or not.
But that's his
Yeah.
strong suit, is that he's really good at balancing horror and
Right.
tension with
Exactly.
goofiness.
Yeah, and but Spider-Man 3 was not like
Which
not
works
good.
in Evil
Yeah,
Dead,
but
I
Amazing
don't know if it
Spider-Man
works.
2 is on the different side of the spectrum where
yeah.
the studio had complete influence on the movie,
And it's amazing.
and-
Well, let's look at
Amazing
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man
whoa, whoa,
2?
whoa,
oh,
guys.
this is Spider-Man too.
guys.
no, Amazing
Oh,
Spider-Man
God.
2 is
If you
like,
wanna-
Jamie Foxx's Gap is my favorite actor.
oh my god, I wish electricity would fix my teeth.
I didn't hear the amazing part.
He's my idol.
That's
It's like
my fault.
it's like all of a sudden we all
I am
like
in no way advocating for you to watch Amazing
Oh my-
Spider-Man 2.
Watch it, kids.
it's like we screenshot like the gap between his teeth and then start praying to it.
Jeez.
Let's make a mural to Jamie Foxx's teeth.
What was it? Spider-Man 2 had that one scene when Doc Ock becomes Doc Ock in the hospital.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was very Sam Raimi in a horror sense. So I feel
Very
like it does
spooky.
work.
It was spooky and
yeah.
Spooky.
it was spooky.
It was spooky.
It was. I think the biggest mistake was that the studio not only forced Venom in when Sam Raimi said, "I don't understand Venom,"
Right.
but also I think another thing that happened was in regards to Sandman. I'm not sure if this was a studio or Sam Raimi. So if one of you knows, you
Who
can
was
tell
that
me.
actor? I've never
Thomas
seen him.
Hayden
Thomas
Church.
Hayden Church.
What happened to him?
He just went off to do other movies.
I've never seen
He's
him. I don't think I,
he's like
maybe I just haven't
he's not a
recognized him.
huge actor. I remember seeing him in something else,
But he's good.
I thought he was a good Sandman.
He definitely looked the part.
He was perfect as Sandman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sandman's not the best villain, but they
I know,
probably
but I
did
thought
him
he-
as well as they could have.
Yeah.
I thought the casting for him was
Minus the part where
perfectly
they,
fine.
yeah, of course, like he did a great job. Minus
Yeah.
the part where they like squeezed him into like Uncle Ben's.
I was about to talk about that.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
that
Yeah,
a
that was
studio
bizarre.
decision?
I think
know.
that was actually I have no
It's
idea.
hard to tell.
Because I feel like a problem that I have with the Spider-Man movies, unlike the comic books, is like I understand when they go the route that every villain is a result of Oscorp, because because that's kind of in the middle ground where it does have somewhat of a personal connection to Peter Parker because of his connection with Harry Osborn and Norman Osborn. but at the same time, it's not like literally we're gonna shoehorn Sandman as being Uncle Ben's killer.
Right.
And I feel like in the Sam Raimi movies, the criticism I have is every villain is too personally connected to Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah.
And
no one's bad just to be bad.
yeah, and that's not necessarily bad, but in the case of Sandman, I feel like if you got rid of the whole Uncle Ben shooting thing, that would have been fine. Like, I think what they were going
He had a
for,
good enough motivation and backstory without
totally. You know what they were going for was to have Spider-Man cleanse himself of that sense of revenge, with the black suit representing that.
Right.
But the problem with that is, I think it's okay to take liberties at storytelling, but there are certain things that are so crucial that if you change them, it alters like almost the core of the character.
It changes that whole part in the first. It's like if you watch the first movie after you watch the third, it like lessens the impact of that initial part.
And it wasn't even added in well. You know what I mean?
There was no point. I don't know why. It was bizarre.
Well, those 2 points actually make me even more worried about the Venom movie, is changing core parts of a certain character. And what was the other thing?
I have a theory on what they're going to do with Venom.
Well, I would love to hear your theory. But what was the other thing you said? You said that there's like a change in character, and then there's another thing that you just mentioned was like a big problem with Spider-Man 3.
I was mentioning that it alters the core and
right, that and
character.
Another thing you said.
I'm trying to go back.
Yeah, I was thinking like, okay, that's 2 things that Venom has me worried about, but I forgot one.
Do you mean how they shoehorn random things in? Or?
Yes, there you go. So like, I'm worried about how Venom could be a repeat of Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3, and that they change core parts of characters as well as shoehorn in stuff that doesn't belong there and just making an overcrowded stuff. Because Sony is trying, at least from on the outside, what we understand, is making their own movie universe with Spider-Man characters.
Why?
Because
they keep making universes. Just make one good fucking movie.
I agree, but at the same time,
and then make a sequel, and then call it a universe.
Sony is probably
what the fuck?
Sony's
9/11.
Sony is the 9/11 of movie studios.
This is awesome.
It is pretty terrible.
We do not in any way condone any violence.
We do not condone you work for Sony Pictures. Sony is really good at shitting the bed, and I think that's my biggest worry about the Venom movie. I would be totally fine with there being a Venom movie, even if it didn't connect to the MCU.
I love Venom,
but look at the X-Men movies. Like, for the most part,
they're
pretty good, and they don't have to like interact with the rest of the universe.
Yeah, but the X-Men universe is big enough to sustain itself.
Right, but even then, like Venom on his own, it could work.
It could work.
But my biggest worry about that movie is Sony trying to shoehorn in. Oh, look at all these like teases into the movie, like, ooh, Silver Sable, Black Widow, Kraven the Hunter, Mysterio. They're trying to make movies out of all these characters that work best with Spider-Man, and it's just so bizarre.
This is what I think they should do. If they wanted to be separate from the MCU, they should go the Ultimate Universe route. So in the Ultimate Comics,
I don't even think they're aware of what that is.
But if they are,
Peter Parker and Eddie Brock's dad were both science partners, and they tried to create a cure for cancer.
Right. The symbiote, instead of being an alien from Secret Wars, it's a cure for cancer.
But the thing about a cure for cancer, I don't remember what it was exactly, but I think it was like a living organism that would devour all the bad, negative cancer cells. But eventually it became sentient, essentially, or it became self-aware, something along those lines. And when Spider-Man got into contact with it, when he was I think he was investigating deeper into his father's scientific history,
which I already tried doing,
which sucked.
They fucked it up. Yeah,
continue.
And when it went on Spider-Man, because Spider-Man had all these amazing powers and stuff, it found that it actually just its primary function was to feed on negative cancer cells.
Right.
But when it's on a powerful, healthy being, it needs to feed on something. So it basically just eats whatever host it's on alive. And because Spider-Man's so powerful, it would probably not only get more powerful itself, but be able to sustain itself. Like with the symbiote, something that people don't understand is if you look at a symbiote that hasn't had contact with a host, it's an entirely different thing. The Venom symbiote pre-Spider-Man was literally just all it had was, aside from being sentient goo, essentially, it could shapeshift. It also had a weakness to sonic waves and fire. But the thing is it didn't have spider abilities. Right. But because it was on Spider-Man, it absorbed his DNA. Right. So the way I feel is that's a problem that they're going to have with the Venom movie, is simply the fact that either approach, whether you go the ultimate approach, which I feel like for a solo Venom movie would work better, because it would give him a bit of his own, like, I'm not sure how to put it, but it would give him, like, I guess, better motivations and a history that gets to involve Spider-Man less, yet still be coherent to work. Without Spider-Man. But at the same time, I feel like it wouldn't make sense for him to have the spider or be Spider-Man-like and have those powers. However, the other thing, not however, but just the other thing is that in the MCU, if they do ever do Venom, they got to go the classic route, because that's the best approach. So I feel like if they want to set this apart and do an Elseworld tale, then if they go with the ultimate version, that could work a lot better. And I think they should hint at Spider-Man's existence.
Of course.
Yeah. But if they don't want to feature him, fine. Even that's a mistake.
Right.
I think what they should do is have a stunt double, so you don't have to see Peter Parker. You just have like a guy in a Spider-Man costume for like one scene or flashbacks, and then you can move on with his story. Because Venom without Spider-Man ever existing
is pointless.
Makes no sense, and you might as well get rid of the spider and the eyes and all the iconic stuff that makes Venom Venom.
It's just about floating goo.
Yeah.
It's just about goo that wants to eat brains, you know?
Yeah. The only thing that I can think of the Venom movie doing without a like
Spider-Man DNA,
humongous Spider-Man presence, like him being a primary character in the movie, is if they want to, like, let's say for one instance, it takes place in the MCU, but Spider-Man isn't a huge character in the movie. So, like, let's say Eddie Brock is the first person to get into the symbiote. He's the first person to have the symbiote, but if they want to make Venom work on his own without having to, like, go through the whole classic storyline, maybe have Eddie Brock be one of the criminals Spider-Man locks away. And maybe someone along the lines of Tombstone, like, buys his freedom and is like, okay, now you work for me. And they have, like, this sort of, they have scientists that are working on illegal stuff. And, like, give Venom his own unique... oh, hello, boys.
Hi, doggy.
Hi, doggy. But you want to give Venom, like, his own interesting, like, origin without having to go through the whole trepidatious, like, Spider-Man gets the symbiote, then he gets rid of the symbiote, then Venom gets the symbiote. Yeah, but if they were to do that and give Venom his own unique origin, but still have a connection to Spider-Man, that'd be cool. But if it doesn't take place in the MCU,
why don't they do a future timeline, like later in the timeline?
I feel like that would be even worse, because then, let's say...
They don't have many options if they're going to do it.
The only option that would make sense to me is they do Agent Venom, because I feel like that has the least to do with Spider-Man in terms of incarnations of Venom.
And Tom Hardy would be great as either Eddie Brock or Agent Venom.
Like, if Venom was like sort of what they did with Flash Thompson, which they're not going to do in the MCU because Tony Revolori can only... he's not really Agent Venom worthy, I think. He works as like the bully Flash Thompson, but not the Venom Flash Thompson. I would say that maybe have Eddie Brock in the comic book version of Flash Thompson, where he's a war veteran, he comes back with like limbs missing, then he gets the symbiote and he's like doing like maybe he's a hitman or a bounty hunter, or he does contracts. Do something interesting where like there's still like the subconscious battle between Eddie Brock and the symbiote.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
And then like have Carnage be like someone has like a more raw, more unstable version of that symbiote. Like there's potential for a Venom story
really
to
cool
be
that
good.
they could do in the movies that I think would be the best approach to like the symbiote Eddie Brock relationship.
Yeah.
And this is based on current comics. So they recently, I'm not sure if you guys know, but Flash Thompson, Agent Venom, is no longer Venom, and Eddie Brock has resumed the mantle.
Right.
And one of the things they're playing around with is a romantic relationship between Eddie Brock and the symbiote.
Lovely.
Not sexual. It's not like that. But it's kind of like when he refers to the symbiote, he's like my other, my spouse, my love. You know, he refers to the symbiote as like my love.
Right.
Because you got to remember, the symbiote isn't human, and it doesn't have like a human gender.
I'm only human after all.
Get the fuck out of here. But basically, like, ew.
Oh boy,
Actually, I'm not gonna lie. You know what it is? In this context, it's just weird, but I'm gonna be real. That song, I kind of dig it.
I'll dig it.
You know what's bad?
I'll dig it.
The remix of that song that they did for the Mass Effect Andromeda trailer.
Yeah, I remember that.
Better than the entire game.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it's better than the original song.
And the guy that wrote it is called like Rag and Bone Thug, and he looks like a
Wait, I have it on my laptop.
He looks like
here.
a super soldier with Down syndrome.
No, he looks like a giant baby. Look at him. A giant baby with a neck beard.
What the fuck is that?
That's really funny because he
How
actually.
old are you? I don't know. 4 or
How old are
47.
you? Yes.
I love how he has this like husky ass voice,
That's
and then you see him and he
disgusting.
looks like a man baby. That's awesome.
He honestly looks like one of. No, I'm not going to say that. We already made the 9/11 reference.
You know Sid from Toy Story 1?
Sure.
That's him.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
What do you want from the Venom movie?
Yeah.
Boy, did they cast Carnage?
Okay, so they didn't cast Carnage.
Because that's all I care
but
about.
here's what okay, so in terms
I
of
love Carnage.
Toby, say the potential casting for Carnage first.
well, I'll say what we know for a fact
Okay.
will be in the Venom movie. So the writer and director, I believe, is the same person who did Zombieland. Zombieland's a good movie. It's not my favorite zombie movie. It's not even a great movie. I think it's a fun movie, and I feel like there's potential.
Venom ain't supposed to be fun.
What
the fuck?
But they have Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock.
I mean, it could be hard R and fun in like a horrific slasher
guess.
film
Right.
kind of way.
And the only other person cast in the movie is, oh my god. We have a tendency to just like have random forces of nature that just like, but wait, don't.
But wait, there's more!
Riz Ahmed, the guy from Rogue One who got, I think, mind raped from the tentacle monster, is playing, quote unquote, a popular Marvel Comics character.
Well, I'm out. Goodbye, everybody. See you next week.
But they insist he's not Carnage, which.
If he is, I'm gonna fucking 9/11 the whole studio.
Okay, I would just
Holy
like to
shit.
preface that he is not inciting,
I'm pissed off.
inciting to.
Shut the fuck up.
That's awesome.
I don't know. Okay. So what were you gonna say about Carnage? Who's the potential?
His name
Matt-
sounds like Ritz Crackers.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck.
It's Matt Smith.
Oh, okay, that'd be interesting.
I can
see that.
kind of
actually. That'd
see
be
it,
really cool.
but part of me
All right,
also.
I take it back. The plan's off. No matter.
But part of me feels like,
Just not
you know, like I can possibly see it, but he looks a little bit too like sweet to me.
Like you want to kiss him or something?
Yeah, he looks like he needs a bunch of kisses. Here's the other thing, though. He did play American Psycho in a Broadway version of it, so he could be Carnage.
I just like the idea of you being in the movie theater watching the Venom movie, but every time you see Matt Smith, you just hear in the corner of the the other corner of the theater.
I once when I saw Ant-Man the second time in theaters, I knew all the lines somehow. So before Paul Rudd was like, "I love you too, sweetie," I was like, "I love you, Paul Rudd," and on the screen he's like, "I love you too, sweetie,"
That's disgusting.
and I loved it. It was great.
Okay, so promise me next podcast you're gonna preface yourself world's biggest Ant-Man fan.
Okay, you got yourself a deal.
World's only Ant-Man fan.
Well, no, not true. I'm a fan of Ant-Man.
Get out!
What do you want from the Venom movie, Ben?
Ant-Man to be in it.
No. What do you think of Matt
Honestly-
Smith and possibly playing Carnage and Tom Hardy being Venom?
Okay, Tom Hardy I love because I think he can pull it off, especially if they do the like what Zach was saying with the like it's not sexual, but like the romantic almost relationship
Yeah.
between like I think he could really pull that off. I'd be okay with Matt Smith as Carnage, but like I always hear the voice from the TV show.
The
Right.
animated
It's
90s
like
one,
it's
yeah.
kind of like that crazy southern
Yeah, I
voice.
hear
Yeah.
the same thing.
So
Like-
like I don't know if it would. I don't know.
The older fan casts were Jim Carrey and
Which would be
and
amazing.
Jackie Earl
Jim Carrey
Haley.
would be awesome.
Jim Carrey won't do it because I think he's
It's
like,
too violent.
He's
Yeah,
anti after Kick-Ass 2. He was like,
which is so weird.
he's like, I don't like
Jack-
this movie. 'cause I
Jackie
did
Earl
it."
Haley's a little bit too. I know it sounds weird. He has the look for it,
But
but he
he's
can play
too-
crazy. Too serious.
too intense.
Yeah,
Jackie
sure.
Earl Haley
Watch
Rorschach.
Rorschach.
and Freddy
Yeah.
Krueger from the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Don't even get me started on that remake. I'm a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan, and that really pissed me off.
Did it
Yeah, he
grind your gears, boy?
Let's
No.
just say it's another.
Every time he
it's
talks,
another. No,
did you guys see the new Nightmare on Elm Street? Because every line
I
would
don't
be
think-
him mumbling.
Yeah, that's why he was in Watchmen.
This city, blah, blah. The heroes don't come out to make cakes anymore. Blah, blah, blah.
What I like is when he's like,
Maybe you were watching the porn parody.
wait. I like in the trailer when like it gets all dramatic and he's like,
And I'll whisper, no.
And it's like all the dramatic lines to say, and I'll say
Someone's
no.
killing
Like-
all my friends.
Okay,
yeah.
I know we're supposed to talk about
Oh.
Venom, but I thought Rorschach and Watchmen was like really cool.
Yeah.
He was. I just couldn't understand.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, like it's
Okay.
fine.
okay,
2 thumbs way up.
okay.
I think it was
Well,
okay.
that's a wrap, folks. No,
Go.
I couldn't stand that movie because the opening credit scenes took 5 fucking minutes.
It
So
was
I was
8
like-
minutes
I
actually.
remember my cousin saw that.
of just slow motion.
My cousin saw that movie, and I was like, "So, what did you think?" And she was like, "I couldn't stop laughing at the opening credits
It was
because
such
she
bullshit.
heard the Bob Dylan song. She doesn't know who Bob Dylan is, so she heard the song, and her interpretation of what she heard in the background
Was
like,
the song "I'm Only Human"?
No.
I'm only human.
No, she looked at me,
Don't put the
and
blame
her
on my
impression of the song that played in the background of the opening credits of Watchmen was "Yippee-ki-yo, let's go to the farm!" And I was like, "Whoa, I gotta see this movie." And I was like, "Wait, this is Bob Dylan. What drugs were you on, woman?"
It was so serious the whole time.
Well, Watchmen's not a fun-go-lucky story.
I know, but like,
It's just another example of why you can't adapt a book
it's like
in its yeah,
yeah,
exactly how it
it's
is
like
in
the
the book.
Killing
onto
Joke,
film.
the animated Killing Joke. Hearing them like read the lines straight off the page sounded so bizarre.
Yeah.
At times.
They call it an adaptation for a reason, not
Right,
like
because it's not like like there's a difference between a remake and an
right.
adaptation.
It's an adaptation, and as part of that, basically what you're doing is you're taking a storyline and adapting it to fit into another
Yeah,
medium of
and
storytelling.
it just
Right.
it was so fucking long.
Right.
If I see one more giant blue cock in that fucking movie,
I would just like to preface that Ben is not inciting you.
I do not like giant blue cock. It was just Dr. fucking Manhattan Mephisto.
Do we really have-
Times Square?
Dr. Mangala's blue cock.
Do we really have to give disclaimers for everything Ben says? I feel like it's accepted at this point in the podcast
You know, if and
that
when
he's just going to say whatever.
if and when we ever have any merchandise, I want our first shirt to be 9/11, just like
Jesus
just the number 9/11.
Remember that article? I think it was the one that Ben sent that was a curse. That was something along the lines of like every time the soccer player like
yeah,
has a
every time
particular
that
goal.
soccer player
Okay, you
scores
say
a
it.
goal,
Yeah.
So a famous
us-
celebrity dies.
a month later.
And
Yeah.
Osama bin Laden was listed as
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah,
celebrities.
that
on
was the
list.
weirdest thing. Like, why would
It
you?
was
Okay,
like
not only
Chester Bennington, David Bowie, and then it's like Osama bin Laden. That's
Yeah.
like number one.
that's what I want to know. Why the fuck? Okay, first of all, listing Osama
Hey,
bin
a
Laden.
lot of kids in a different part of the world looked up to him. He's a celebrity to them.
That's
Fuck
like,
kids.
that's like saying Charles Manson is a celebrity just because he's infamous for like
I-
killing
I
people.
guess.
I mean, yes, but at this, okay,
2 thumbs way up.
okay, but like why he was listed as celebrity, I don't know. But he was the first
the first
person
one.
on the list.
Because I think he was the first death.
No.
Because they literally just brought that guy in to kick Osama bin Laden in the face. Until he
Oh,
died.
okay. Anyways, back to Venom.
I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me.
So what? Okay, let's.
Can
say,
we just address the voice of Homer Simpson, voiced Venom in the animated series?
Hank
You know how much
Azaria?
that blows? Yeah, you know how much that blows my fucking mind.
That is weird.
Eddie Brock and the
Oh,
Venom
okay.
voice were both Hank Azaria. He went from
No,
making
Dan-
yeah.
what's his face?
Okay.
Dan-
He went from being like in Spider-Man to being like, no,
No, Dan.
it's
Dan-
crazy.
Who does Hank Azaria play? Dan Castellaneta is Homer. Who?
Oh, then I fucked up.
Who does
Who's
he
Hank
play?
Azaria?
No.
Disclaimer: Zach doesn't know shit.
About the Simpsons.
I really don't know all that much about The
I'm
Simpsons, to
kidding.
be honest.
The only thing I've seen Hank Azaria in currently is that show I showed you, Border Town.
Ew.
That was the most cancerous thing. It's like Hank Azaria plays a border patrol person, and he lives next to like a Mexican family, and literally the whole show is just they don't like these Mexicans, and that's it. That's the whole show.
The
Ew.
things I know Hank Azaria most from are the movie The Birdcage. If you've seen that, it's the
Yeah,
one.
he played the bird.
No, it's with Robin Williams.
Does Nick Cage play the cage?
Okay, no. You might have seen it, but you might not associate it with The Birdcage, like the
Uh-huh.
name The Birdcage, but it's
Yeah.
the movie where Robin Williams and I forget the other guy, Nathan something or other.
Drake,
No, Nathan something.
Fillion.
okay, so Robin Williams and this other guy, they're gay, and they own a nightclub called the Birdcage, and their son is like, okay, we want you to meet. The son's like, I want you to meet the woman I'm going to marry, and he's bringing his fiance and her parents over, but her dad is like a hardcore, like conservative, politician. Shut up, like. He's like
I'm just gonna keep throwing out ideas until you tell me to stop.
He's the heart.
Maybe you should play Carnage.
Like, yeah. Fan cast.
Sony, if you're listening.
Tom Hardy's like okay, another night on the prowl, and then all of a sudden,
You just hear,
yeah.
So like, what happens is that. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the bird.
Shut up!
So, because Robin Williams' son's daughter's father is like a hardcore, like Republican. Shut up, conservative politician. Robin Williams and his husband have to be like, okay, we have to pretend that we're straight. So like, Robin Williams has to pretend to be a straight man, and his husband has to pretend to be a woman. And
Hank, that's the best idea.
And Hank is it's a really funny movie. And Hank Azaria is Robin Williams' extremely gay housemaid. And he's like always in like short shorts, and he talking like this, and there's a scene he doesn't wear shoes in the entire movie, but when the parents finally come over, Robin Williams makes him wear shoes, and he's like, I can't wear shoes, I slip all the time, and then like he walks with the shoes, and he keeps falling every time he walks into
That's
frame.
crazy.
It's a really great movie, but he was also in the Roland Emmerich Godzilla movie.
Well, he's really good at playing entirely different characters. He's more of a character actor than anything else. He's really impressive.
Cast Roland Emmerich, not Roland Emmerich. Hank Azaria.
Roland Emmerich as the new Godzilla.
Hank Azaria is great.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm gonna die.
Can I just address this, though? But he was the best Venom voice in animation I've heard ever.
Okay.
Shut the fuck up.
Shoot them away!
This is disgusting.
I thought Spectacular Spider-Man's Venom was really good.
I thought it was handled well, but I preferred the 90s voice because it sounded more like what I imagine like the classic Eddie Brock would sound like. Because he was younger, in Spectacular. They went the ultimate route where he was a lot younger, so it was different.
Right. Who played Carnage? That was the Southern Carnage guy.
Roland Emmerich.
Okay. I can't remember his name.
Okay, boy.
But that's what that's what I hear Carnage as. So that I don't know. I think that movie is gonna live or die on its villain because if the villain sucks.
Yeah, because I feel like they're just banking off the fact that Venom's fucking cool. Yeah, that's all they're banking off of with this one.
He is cool, but
let's sell Hot Topic merch now.
But he's cool because of Spider-Man. There's only so much Venom can do as a character without Spider-Man.
You're right. He doesn't stand on his own that well.
They hate us so much, we're gonna get to the movie, and it's just gonna be about Snake Venom. The Python.
I mean, I wanted
opens its mouth.
Anaconda 4.
And like fucking Tom Hardy comes out of the Venom. Where am I? We're not.
Wait, comes out of the Venom. So you're telling me
we're not pursuing.
Wait.
This isn't even a tangent. This is fucking awful,
dude. This is what I imagine.
I had sounded good in my brain,
dude. I just imagine a snake coughing up poison, right? And then the poison is oozing onto something, and then all of a sudden it like slowly
it turns into the amazing.
Turns into Tom Hardy. Oh God, as the Amazing Bulk.
Oh yeah,
this is disgusting.
Now we're just going to really obscure.
Tooth for me.
Imagine though if you saw that as a trailer and then the title card came up and it was just Anaconda remake.
Anaconda Hunt for the Blood Orchid #3.
Disgusting.
I remember when I saw that trailer back to back with the Seed of Chucky trailer. When I saw Spider-Man 2 in the theaters, people were laughing so hard because no one could decide which movie looked worse. Seed of Chucky, where the trailer was just Chucky in a woman's womb, or Anaconda Hunt for the Blood Orchid, where it's just a bunch of people screaming and running away from giant snakes.
Definitely the second one. The Chucky one sounds a little bit more interesting at the very least.
Okay, so on a scale of...
But still stupid.
Okay, guys.
On a scale of puppet birth to giant snake.
No, I was going to ask a serious question.
I like that. Can we make that a thing?
On a scale of Seed to Chucky, Seed of Chucky to Anaconda 2, where will Venom fall?
Oh, okay. I think it's going to lean towards Chucky because I don't think it's going to be nearly as bad as any of the Anaconda movies. Because that's a really low bar, but at the same time...
It's just, what's your name?
I think it'll be better than...
Angelina Jolie fighting a black dick in the water.
Ew.
Whoa.
That's what the movie is.
Was Angelina Jolie in Anaconda?
I'm almost positive.
Because I know it was...
Was it?
It was Ice Cube, John... No, it was Jennifer Lopez, I think.
Yeah, it was Jennifer Lopez.
Thick Latina fights black cock in the water. Yeah!
It's the official synopsis of the Venom movie.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow, this got really gross. But
It's
can I just
actually
say
the
something?
synopsis for Lady in the Water.
Wait, can we make a...
Synopsis is a gross word.
Can we please use a stupidity meter that's like puppet birth?
It's a giant snake.
Yeah, it's a giant snake. We just need to have a meter that just dictates how stupid certain movies
And
are.
then immediately throw it out. Just like make a...
One for each dumb
it
movie we
one
talk
time.
about.
Yes.
Yes, totally. I'm down.
With the sickness.
On a scale of 9 to 11, where's Venom gonna fly?
I think
Venom
I don't
doesn't
know.
fly.
Okay.
Get the fuck out of here.
All right, question.
Yeah.
I just don't know yet. I don't know.
So let's say it's because we don't have
I
much,
don't know. I'm not good. I don't know.
because we
I
don't
don't know.
because we don't
I
have
don't know.
because we don't have a lot to work with. What other Marvel characters that Sony technically owns that Marvel Studios has not used would be okay or would be interesting to see in the Venom movie? Because Venom and Carnage are shooing.
Well, I mean, they're already doing Silver Sable and Black Cat. I
Gorilla
remember
Grodd.
in the Ultimate Spider-Man video game
Gorilla Grodd.
specifically. Ew.
Gorilla.
No,
Shark
having a
Tank.
gorilla fight Venom sounds terrible. But basically,
Fight the monkey.
we had Silver Sable and Black Cat, and I feel like
Right.
Silver Sable being like, being paid by the government to be a mercenary and take out Venom and Carnage would be kind of interesting.
That
It
would
could
be
cool.
That would be
interesting.
pretty cool.
That'd be fine with me.
Yeah.
You could do
But
the
then
Beetle.
Venom and Carnage would have to team up and fight the woman. And that would make people hate her.
I'm trying to think.
She's a
Of,
woman.
I'm trying to think of like what characters.
The Beetle, from Spider-Man, that
No, yeah, I know.
has like a symbiote containment
Yeah.
unit. In
Wait,
his
the Beetle
suit.
has a symbiote
Yeah.
control unit?
In the Ultimate version,
Huh.
he's trying to take the symbiote and sell it to Trask.
That's interesting.
Yeah, in the regular Marvel universe, Trask is more of an X-Men character, but in the Ultimate universe, he's just in it like
He's
a Marvel
just
Universe
Glitch.
character.
Right.
Yeah,
And he was already
I'd
using
be down.
but
for
he
Peter
was
to
already
glitch
using
again.
the
It was so obscure.
he was
though.
used in X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to use him, but I'm just saying you could have it be another person, like a Tombstone, maybe,
Sure.
who wants the suit because it's worth money.
Right. Or
They've
like
done that.
Alistair Smythe.
Yeah, sure. Like something like that could
Such
really
a
work.
gross name.
Yeah.
Mr. Smythe.
The Spider Slayers would be really cool to see.
I would
Because
like to see the Spider Slayers again, there are all these great things in Spider-Man
And
lore.
Sony isn't aware of
I
any
want
of them.
I want to see these things interact with Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because we're definitely guaranteed at least 2 trilogies with this guy's Spider-Man.
Here's the thing, though, with Tom Holland, because he's so young, I feel like a Venom movie shouldn't happen until he's older.
Yeah.
Like it could work if they did it while he was still in high school,
it would be cool,
but it works better
feel like
when he's older.
for this trilogy of him in high school, like focus on the Sinister Six, which is what they're building
Yeah,
up
right.
to. Do you have the hiccups?
No, maybe.
I'm calling the police!
So, like, obviously, this trilogy is building up to the Sinister Six, which is
Yeah.
cool. But, and like to your point, like, yeah, save bigger villains like Green Goblin and maybe even Venom if we see him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for later. That being said,
Because Venom doesn't work with an inexperienced Spider-Man.
I agree. But at the same time, like, Venom by himself,
It's worse.
it's
He would just
terrible.
die. He would just die. No, like, he would probably kill Tom Holland.
What are we talking about right now?
I was thinking thoughts.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
I said Venom doesn't work with an inexperienced Spider-Man. So, like, he
yeah,
would
where Tom
definitely-
Holland
right,
is
right.
now,
I
it
was
wouldn't
saying-
work.
he
But
would
like,
probably die.
yeah,
I
but like
see.
in 3 movies from now, he'd definitely be able to take on
Like
Venom.
an experienced Spider-Man, sure, but
Yeah.
like just for this movie, if it happens, which unfortunately, in a world where we're getting a Jumanji sequel post Robin Williams suicide and the Emoji Movie,
Also, post Robin Williams suicide.
it seems like all bets are off. So we're getting a Venom movie.
Isn't the Emoji Movie like the
And-
worst rated film in history or worst reviewed
No,
film in
not
history?
the worst.
I don't know if
It's
still
up
has
there.
it. I don't
It's
know if
definitely
it still
up there.
has a 0%.
No, it has like a 7 or something.
It's so much better. It's literally just one giant
Dude,
ad.
I've
And
heard, I've heard
that's
it's
what-
up there
that's
with The
another
Room
thing.
in bad movies. When it comes
No,
to
but
bad
The Room
movies.
is enjoyable to watch.
Okay, so it's worse than The Room in the sense where
It's
it's
one
not
of those
enjoyable.
movies where there's no
Enjoyment to be had.
like it's not
Yeah.
ironically bad. It's just bad.
They weren't trying to make a good movie, and then it ended up being like the most hilarious piece of shit. It's like literally just
That's another thing
A
that
piece
makes
of
me
shit.
worried about the Venom movie is every Sony movie has so much shameless product placement. What if, like Venom,
the symbiote
it'll-
has like a Mountain Dew logo on the side of his
like
head.
how much of Venom will just be one gigantic commercial for like Coca-Cola and Domino's and Papa John's
I can guarantcy you there's a picture
and
it's-
Hostess Puffs.
Oh my god! By the way, I had an idea for the thumbnail that would be perfect just right now. There's a picture from Venom from a comic strip that I can send you guys. I think I might have it in a comic, and it's him just sitting down like super buff. To the point where like he can't even like lay his arms on his legs as he's sitting properly, so he's sitting like an ape. And a little kid is skateboarding in front of him, and he's talking to the little kid, and he's like, "I'm so bored."
Whoa.
And I feel like that would be such a perfect thumbnail to use.
That's I don't know why, but when you described him being so buff, my mind went to I think it was Rob Liefeld,
Liefeld, yeah.
Liefeld's version of Captain America, where his
God.
pecs are bigger than his head, like he has boobs for each pec.
You
like an entire midget for like each pec.
They
like,
should go back in time, get young Alex Jones, and have him be Eddie Brock.
Ew.
Did you see that photo circulating on Reddit of the young Alex Jones?
Yeah, and he's like really fit.
It's the most disgusting.
I sent that to you guys.
Yeah, it's like the young Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's really weird.
That's even more disgusting.
It's really weird because he genuinely
Alex
was
Jones
like.
is Carnage.
Actually, though, if they buffed him out, I'd be down.
I'm gonna turn the frogs gay!
Yeah, here's the thing though.
Oh my
What's scary
God.
about Alex Jones is he looks like he went from being like a decent, like good-looking, fit dude to
Yeah.
being whatever the fuck he is now.
Tumor.
Yeah.
Also Sony's fault.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. I actually think, just putting this out there,
Alex
I think
Jones
he's
has a Sony job.
I think he's sensible, but like just wants to like make controversy,
Just like Carnage.
just like Carnage. Why not?
Well, he
Just to be
is-
funny and be an asshole and get
I
attention.
feel like he.
But not like Sony. They're just doing it for
At least
quick
Alex
bucks.
Jones
Yeah.
believes the
No,
bullshit
Alex,
that
jo-
he
Alex
says
Jones is doing it for corporate reasons. He advertises like a minute
So
after each
much.
outburst.
Okay, let's just keep it in mind.
We're all
I'm
gay.
not-
Buy my protein powder.
That's exactly
we have
right.
to keep the lights on here, people. I'm gonna have to sell 3 of my Rolexes, but we're gonna have to keep the lights on.
Okay,
Buy my protein powder. You're all faggots. Buy my protein. My protein powder.
okay, let's all agree.
Buy my protein powder.
Okay, Alex Jones is Carnage. We're saying it now.
Okay, so let's cast the Venom movie.
Alex Jones is Carnage.
Venom
I honestly kind of
as Tom
I
Hardy.
kind of want it
But
too.
you-
Venom
be
is Tom
so
Hardy.
fat.
Okay.
Carnage is
Alex
Alex
Jones.
Jones.
Yeah.
Who's Riz Ahmed gonna play?
Alistair Smythe. That would be really good
Silver
casting.
Sable.
Oh, Silver
Just
Sable.
Riz Ahmed in drag.
Sure.
Okay.
Because women have too many roles in Hollywood.
Holy shit.
And he's also brown.
God, that's awful.
2 birds with 1 bullet. So.
You're making this so weird.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I
I
think it's
don't
because I
know.
had work last night.
That could definitely be.
I have to contain myself when I'm at work.
Okay, so
Um,
I'm watching the Spawn animated series, and there's a part in like the second episode where what's Spawn's wife's name?
Wanda.
Wanda is like
Played by Wanda Sykes.
yes, Wanda is in a prison, and she's like interrogating this person for supposedly killing children, and you remind me of him because she's like
You mean
yes.
Wait, you mean Billy Kincaid?
I think so. I've not.
That's
wait,
so
isn't,
awful.
Wait, isn't
Thank
Billy?
you.
Isn't
Thank you
Billy
so
Kincaid
much.
the
He's
fat guy?
He's the fat.
No,
ice
not
cream
him.
truck pedophile
Not him.
in the
Not-
beginning
not,
of the series.
Not Billy Kincaid, the other person who's like,
Oh,
did you-
Sam
yeah,
from
where-
Sam and Twitch.
yeah, where it's like, did you really kill those kids? And he's like, I'm a good boy. I would never
Oh,
kill
not
the
that.
boys.
No, you know
That's
who-
what you remind me of. Just
Really?
Like,
Thank you.
You know, I want to see Ben play really bad. You know, Sam and Twitch from Spawn, the 2 detectives in the Spawn universe.
yeah, yeah.
And they find themselves in all these crazy supernatural scenarios.
That happens to me anyways.
Yeah, I
It's
feel like
true.
you'd be so good as Sam, but you'd be like a less angry Sam. You'd be a more likable one. You know what I mean?
Sony.
You'd have to
Ew.
gain, dude. You'd have to gain like 40 pounds to be able to pull that role.
Oh, I could do it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, literally, like you know,
Papa John's.
you know what I love about
We're
like
hearing
when
this.
people play fat roles is like most of the time, like I think Jared Leto did one time. Is like it's like you
Hunka,
gotta train,
hunka.
hunka, hunka. You gotta train like 6 hours a day and shit. And I like how when you're playing like a fat role, instead of like working out for 6 hours, you just eat for 6 hours.
Oh
It's
man,
my kind of training.
It's a
Easiest
dream,
job in
dude.
the world.
How many pizzas can I shove in my gullet? 7.
Until you become Venom.
That
Turned
that
into
should
a
be the
similar-
origin story of the Venom
He
movie.
turns into such a fat fuck, and he ends up becoming Venom.
Holy shit, Sony, hire us, please.
We're better than everyone that you have.
And we'll
now.
reboot your Ghostbusters movie.
Ew.
my main. Oh my god, my brain's breaking. We gotta stop talking about the Venom.
Paul Feig! 9/11!
Who's Paul Feig?
Feig?
Kevin Feige.
They're all the same!
Who the hell's Paul Feig?
The Ghostbusters guy.
Oh, you're right.
Not making that fucking mistake again.
Yeah, you dumb shit.
He directed The Office.
And he created Venom.
He is Venom.
Okay, so who should Paul Feig play in the Venom movie?
Black Cat.
Gary Busey.
Wait, he's playing Gary
So
Busey
I like
in the Venom
the
movie.
Paul
idea
Feig, yeah.
that in
Gary
our
Busey's
universe,
team.
if we were behind this Sony Marvel universe,
It's gonna be
The
better
Silver
than what it
Sable?
actually is gonna
true, but the Silver Sable Black Cat movie stars Riz Ahmed as Silver Sable.
be. And Black Cat.
No, and Paul Feig as
As
Black
Gary
Cat.
Busey as
As
Black
Black
Cat.
Cat.
Holy shit, Sony! This is how you make your shitty movies
Hey,
good.
Spidey boy!
No, like he just
Hunka!
and then and not Val Kilmer. That's when Michael Keaton comes in dressed as the Vulture. Hey, Pedro.
Ew.
I told this to Ben on the way here, but I saw Spider-Man: Homecoming for the second time, and I finally have like concrete thoughts on that movie because the first time I saw it, my emotions were so conflicted because it was
Mary Jane's black, and
Okay.
he didn't like it.
okay. What is wrong with you? It's insane. Stop with the racial stuff. You're gonna make us get arrested.
I had work last night.
Okay, fuck off. What I was saying
I
was
have work this night.
okay. Good for you. You want
I have work
You
tomorrow.
want an enema?
I have work on Tuesday also.
You're such a
Okay.
fucking cuck.
You're disgusting.
Okay, continue.
You gotta like.
Shut up!
Okay, first of all, cuck is like a dead meme. I hope.
No, cuck is forever.
Wow.
Forget the 9/11 shirt. That's what our first
Cuck,
one
cuck,
This
cuck,
is-
cuck, 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 cuck!
This is definitely the worst episode yet.
Actually, I think it's the best episode.
Alright, we're changing our name. We're not Cucks of the Galaxy.
Okay. Anyways, what I was trying to say about
Cuck schmuck, what's the difference?
what I was trying to say about Spider-Man: Homecoming was that I was. It was everything I wanted it to be, but at the same time, part of me was like,
There was
Is-
some soul missing at little parts.
well, I feel not like
That
it
was
di-
the Jesus.
Not
talk.
from Holland, just from like the way he was put in at little points. I think it was the Robert Downey Jr. Spider-Man.
well,
dynamic. It
that
was missing a little soul.
was sort of like what I was worried about. Was that
Holland was great on his own. Though.
Like
Yeah.
as a Spider-Man fan, there was so much in it that I wanted to see the first time I finally saw. But at the same
I
time,
thought there was
there
too
was-
much MCU.
there was
stuff.
there was a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that made me worried. Like, is this the Spider-Man that I was wanting, or is this something I didn't even know I wanted? So like seeing it the second time, knowing what was going to happen, I realized it's not my favorite movie in the MCU. It's in fact, I think Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is probably my favorite movie in the MCU right now, other than Civil War.
I think it's in the top like 10 MCU movies.
Sure,
for
but
sure.
I mean, there's 16, so yeah, definitely. But at the same time, it's still a great movie.
like
Like,
16 fucking movies.
But
yeah,
I-
and counting.
I think you're right though. Its rewatchability is a little bit weak purely because the jokes are really funny. They're well written,
Right.
but something can only be funny for so long.
Well, but that's the thing. The second time I watched it, it was still funny, and that's what surprised me because it's a lot of the movie is very comedic, and some of the
It's
jokes
really well written.
some of the jokes still work the second time. Like not all
Yeah.
of them. Like the part where
Dude,
like-
it's one of the best written Marvel movies to date. I think.
like
When it comes to dialogue,
well, in terms of like the whole
just dialogue and humor.
a lot of the twists that they do are pretty good, and again, like a lot of the jokes are funny, but not all of them land the second
The
time.
Prowler scene. I mean, the Aaron Davis one. When he,
That
that
was
one is
his-
awesome.
that's
Let me
his-
go. I got ice cream. In the
That's
trunk.
hysterical. Like
Yeah.
that was probably the funniest scene in the
That
movie.
was probably the best casting
Yeah.
they could have done too.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how Aaron Davis will play into the future.
I really want him to come back as the Prowler.
Yeah.
Well, watching the movie the second time, what's interesting is that when he and Schultz and the other guy, the two Shockers, are doing the weapons deal, when they start listing off all the weapons, and one of them says like they have grappling equipment, like for high
Oh,
gear,
the Prowler
like that was the
uses
one
that
thing where it's
equipment.
like, wait a minute, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that's a nice nod. And when you see like in Spider-Man's HUD, where like it notices Aaron Davis's face and lists his name and like his records,
Don't they say like?
they say the Prowler.
Yeah.
It's nice that they're laying the groundwork
I'm a little
appropriately.
worried
I'm
that-
afraid that
yeah.
the Venom movie won't do that.
I'm just worried that a Venom altogether
Well,
would never
it's
fit in the
subtle.
MCU.
It is subtle. Like
It's not like
Yeah.
And he's like,
Yeah,
it's like it was, you know.
Aaron Davis saying he has a nephew is something subtle because, like, if you're not familiar with Miles Morales, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. He has family. That's reason enough for him to like tell Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everything is relevant to the story, but it's also cute references.
Which is really clever. Can I just say something regarding Venom? I'm a little worried though that the MCU would never be able to make Venom work in the MCU because even though you technically can. There's a part of me that feels like the tone that Venom brings wouldn't work with the MCU.
There is some dark stuff in the MCU.
Maybe with Strange.
I feel like once Infinity War comes out and people are...
And Ghost Rider is in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so we do have an MCU Ghost Rider.
We do have the Netflix stuff, even though that's like definitely in its own little...
I know, but I mean in the movie world.
Sure, but I feel like as soon as Infinity War comes out and like the tone goes from like really fun and goofy to like dark when people start dying in like... Right. A lot of people are going to die in Infinity War. I feel like after that, we're going to be in a universe where, something as twisted as Venom and Carnage could possibly happen.
Personally, I wouldn't mind Carnage in the MCU, but I feel like Carnage would have to be years from now.
Right.
But I feel like Venom I can see potentially.
Sure.
But even then, it's a little bit of a stretch. Carnage, most definitely, I can't really see in the MCU.
I don't see Venom meshing well with the current roster.
They'd have to change him a lot.
Yeah. Venom,
which I don't want.
Maybe if it was a Doctor Strange Spider-Man team-up movie that could justify like a crazy.
But then
tone.
if they do that, I'd want them to have Mysterio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Like I'm just thinking because they said that every Spider-Man movie is going to have like a Marvel guest star. I'm thinking if they have Doctor Strange, great way to make Mysterio tied to Dormammu.
Well, in the comics, Iron Man and Doctor Strange and Johnny Storm, but Fantastic Four is not a part of the MCU, are like Spider-Man's three best friends.
Apparently, they have a lot of screen time together in Infinity War. Spider-Man and
Strange. So that's what people are suspecting. Like that'll be the guest star.
It's such a great team up because I feel like whereas Strange is really cold.
Well, they're both in New York too.
Yeah, but like Strange's personality he's totally the straight man.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: Iron Man can be the straight man, but he's very sarcastic.
Right.
Whereas Doctor Strange is genuinely fully.
He's an asshole.
Well, it was nice to see Tony like
and Spider-Man
with some responsibility.
Yeah,
Peter, you know.
What I liked is it was a journey for both of them because whereas Spider-Man,
it wasn't just like here's Iron Man.
Yeah,
and, like he had a purpose.
This is something I want to say. I think Spider-Man: Homecoming served as a continuation of the origin.
Yeah,
I don't
he
feel
was like a fill-in for Uncle Ben.
Yeah, we don't have a full Spider-Man yet. To me, that was like Origin Part 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where he's learning at the end of that movie, he like finally became Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. But I think his origin story plus that movie are like should count as like his full origin story in the MCU. And then at this point forward, he's officially Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just because with all the trouble he was having, it was from inexperience.
Right.
And I feel like this movie was his journey post Uncle Ben to really being Spider-Man.
Yeah. And what I appreciate is that in the MCU, Spider-Man, it's a slow journey. Like he's not.
That was so nice.
He's not a perfect Spider-Man. I feel like by the end
of all the other ones, it's like
by the
origin happens, and then they're like, "We're the best."
Well, I'm hoping by the end of this trilogy, we'll see the Spider-Man that we saw halfway into Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man movie. You know, like Spider-Man who's like
I think Spider-Man 2 more so, but yeah, I agree.
I'm thinking like as long as he's in high school, he'll still like have like he won't. Because he's still learning.
I think they have to quicken the pace a little bit.
Yeah.
Because even though, like, in a comic book world, you can take months to establish something like this, because, you know, one comic book comes out a month for each series. With movies, because they're years apart, I think they might have to speed it up. So I think Infinity War
is going to be a huge jump.
Is going to really give him a lot of experience. Yeah. From that point forward. Funny, goofy mistakes, I'm down for.
Yeah.
I think that's
part of the character.
But I think they should be. But I think they should be less like him. Because he's more experienced, but more like the scenarios are so absurdly crazy.
Well, this is what they've said, that Winter Soldier was sort of like the game changer of Phase 2, and that Thor Ragnarok is going to be the game changer.
And this is the game changer for Phase 4.
They said that Spider-Man 2, which is the first film to come out after Avengers 4, is going to be like the game changer.
Didn't the title just get leaked for that?
I sent you a link. Apparently, like Zoe Saldana said it was Infinity Gauntlet, but they said Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers said that the title to Avengers 4 is a huge spoiler. Spoiler. So my guess is Infinity Gauntlet is probably a working title. And like only a couple people actually know the title of Avengers 4. That being said, they said Spider-Man 2 is going to be the game changer of Phase 4 because apparently it takes place only minutes after Avengers 4, which is pretty cool. So I'm thinking if if Winter Soldier was huge and that shield is gone and there's like this whole aspect of the universe that's eradicated and like then you have Thor
We
Ragnarok.
don't know how many of them are gonna die.
Yeah, and we have Thor Ragnarok. We don't. Apparently, it's going to be another game changer. Probably Asgard's going to be
probably
destroyed.
figure it out by looking at whose contracts are going to expire.
But again, I feel like a lot of the actors have had contracts that have been extended. And Chris Evans has gone on record and said that
I'm almost positive he's going to die.
I would say that, but at the same time, Chris Evans said,
which even though I hate Captain America, I'd actually be really sad.
Like,
if he died.
me too. I would think he would die, but at the same time, Chris Evans has gone on record and said he would still do as many Marvel movies as they want. And there are a lot of people who have said that they keep doing these movies. I feel like a lot of the characters are shoo-ins for like people who are going to die. I think War Machine's going to die. I think,
but after they already had the bullshit thing where his what's it called?
Broke his legs.
He's paralyzed.
Yeah, I think Captain America will probably die.
Vision's going to have to die.
One of the Guardians will have to die. I'm thinking Nebula will die.
Can I just address something regarding the Spider movie going back in the MCU?
Sure.
I think a criticism that I actually feel is very valid is that the weight of Uncle Ben wasn't really addressed, like the weight of his death.
Right.
And I feel like the guilt wasn't there. My theory, and I think they should do this, is because it's been a little while, Spider-Man wants to avoid the guilt that comes with.
Right.
So when he's first being Spider-Man, even though great power comes great responsibility is still on the mind, he wants to like shut away all that misery and just have fun being Spider-Man. And I feel like the Vulture and everything, and all the mess-ups he kept happening that risked lives was part of what made him realize that he can't shut away that guilt and he has to accept it and use it to fuel his drive. And I would love for them in Infinity War to have a scene where Thanos alters reality and like takes them all back to like really important moments. So that way you can address background things that might have been missed or character origin moments that might have been missed without it being in your face or forced.
Right.
And I would love for Spider-Man to have a conversation with Uncle Ben at one point.
Oh, I'd love
whether it be Doctor Strange induces it, where they go into another realm.
Yeah,
or something.
I was thinking that maybe
Time Turner,
in either in Infinity War or maybe the second Spider-Man movie.
It needs to be addressed.
Like Uncle Ben, I feel like the first movie, just to differentiate itself from the other Spider-Man movies, like it was important for them to not retread the same
but the
stuff.
weight wasn't there in the same way.
Right, but I feel like in terms of him going through the arc of like, they did like one part of his coming of age sort of Spider-Man part, like where it's him like wanting to be Spider-Man, like but he wants to be more than he is, but you could label it and phrase it whatever you want, but like he becomes Spider-Man with or without the costume is basically the point. I'm thinking,
I think in relation to the other movies, if they like addressed it later, when you watch it all back, it works perfectly.
Sure.
But I think as of now, it is something.
Well, it's like, okay, we need Norman Osborn, we need the Daily Bugle, but
give it time,
Yeah, but like what we really need is some acknowledgement of Uncle Ben, because like that is.
They mentioned him once.
Well, they pass it, like the only time he's mentioned in Homecoming is when Ned finds out that Peter's Spider-Man, and he's like, don't tell this to Aunt May. With everything that's happened to her in the last year, like she can't know, and it's like, okay, that's good enough. And they haven't even really detailed his origin in terms of like getting bit by the spider. Like all we know is like he got bit by a spider and the spider's dead. We didn't like it's probably just a school trip. Like was it Kirk Connors in his lab, like it was in the Spectacular Spider-Man show?
Right, that would be cool, and I'd be fine with that. Plus, if they never did the lizard, having Kirk Connors just be there would be a nice.
It would be cool if like. Maybe they bring in Kirk Connors in the next one, but like Kirk Connors already happened, and like Spider-Man in his underoos, like sort of shitty costume, already dealt with the lizard. It'd be cool if like they brought in, like they referenced some villain.
That would be really horrific, actually, if Tom Holland went up against a lizard. I feel like don't get me wrong, Spider-Man can handle the lizard really well,
right?
But being as he's like 6 months in,
that shit
and
is
he's
scary. Giant fucking lizard.
Yeah,
that would be a lot to deal with. But I'd love to. I would enjoy that. But I feel like they're not going to go that route.
Yeah, I feel like I hope they do the lizard because he's one of Spider-Man's coolest villains. Amazing Spider-Man 1 shit the bed with him because he was like he's cool when he's not a talking lizard. Like he's just cool when he's like it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde scenario where it's like just full on monster. Like no. You can't negotiate with him. You can't talk to him. He's just a straight up giant fucking monster. He shouldn't be like the main villain of a movie, but having the lizard would be like a cool.
You know what I would love to see?
Yeah,
Vermin.
I do
Vermin?
not want to see Vermin.
I would love to see the Kurt Connors lizard and Vermin, so Spider-Man just has a fucking shitstorm when he goes into the sewer.
I feel like Vermin
it's a little too scary for the MCU.
No, I feel like Vermin is one of those characters like...
You don't think so? He's gross.
Sure, but I feel like Vermin is one of those characters like Inkblot or whatever, the guy with the super Spot. Like one of those characters, just like one of Spider-Man's villains who not only can't carry a movie, just can never be in a movie because they're so
like Calendar Man.
Yeah, like Calendar Man.
Yeah, but like as a side character, if it's just him like just fighting villains for the day.
But I feel like there are still other villains that would probably take that.
But they're gonna do them.
Like,
you know what I mean?
That would be like the Rhino from.
But like doing it well.
I don't ever want to see the Rhino.
No, you know what I mean.
I would like to see the
unless
Rhino.
It's in the Sinister.
I don't want a mech suit Rhino.
Yeah, I want to see like they did. Why I don't know. They went as far as making Sandman a man made of sand. Why can't they make the Rhino a man who is a Rhino?
Yeah. You know what I want to see? I want to see mobster villains like.
That's a whole other aspect of Spider-Man that I'd love to see.
And I feel like they never really touch upon it because they always go for the really fantastical villains. But I feel like my favorite part of Spider-Man is like he's the one character who can jump between like big cosmic storylines and like street level stuff. And I think it's because he's strong enough to hold his own in cosmic storylines. Yeah. But he's also not powerful enough to like take on a Thanos or a character like that. So he has to stick to street level a lot of the time, and I like how there's a balance there. Yeah. And I feel like that's something that they kind of miss a lot of the time. Yeah. I think it'd be nice for them.
That's why it pisses me off that the Silver Sable, Black Cat movie is happening, because those are two really cool parts of Spider-Man's universe. Like him stopping cat burglars and him stopping terrorists.
Daredevil, Punisher, Spider-Man with cameos from Black Cat and Silver Sable. That'd be such a nice
Don't make me hopeful, man. It's not going to happen.
That would be such a nice combination. And it would be like a crime drama. How cool would that be? Yeah. And Spider-Man's like the goofy character on the team. Yeah. Daredevil, even though he's serious, he has like a similar moral compass to Spider-Man, and then you have the Punisher, who's like a whole other situation. Yeah, that'd be perfect. You're right. I'm making up like
they'd have to keep the casting.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Like I would love to see Tombstone and Hammerhead and
right.
I mean, if we want to get like really ambitious, Kingpin as like what's his name from Daredevil, Vincent D'Onofrio. Like. That's about as ambitious as we could probably get in terms of...
He's incredible.
Yeah, because he is technically a Spider-Man villain, but like...
I mean, there's no
Tombstone, Hammerhead, like...
I mean, there's no one really else... There's no one else out there except for maybe Silvermane, but Silvermane becomes like a robot at one point.
But like, again, that's why I'm upset Silver Sable is... So for now, at least, not in the MCU, because we don't have Silvermane. That's another...
Silver Sable's not interesting remotely. I don't know why they're going to make a solo movie with her. Black Cat's way cooler.
I don't know. And
do we need a Black Cat movie?
No, we really don't, because she's not that interesting on herself either.
And you know what's even worse? Not only are they making a shitty fucking movie with these two characters that don't deserve to have their own movie together, but it's coming out a month before Captain Marvel.
Oh God!
So they're just trying to flood it with female superheroes.
Like no, but what's going to happen though is Captain Marvel's going to be good. So it's actually going to make Brie Larson. It's going to make the Sony Black Cat Silver Sable movie actually look even worse.
Yeah,
and make the need for. Don't get me wrong. I do think that more female-led movies are necessary.
But I think people are going to see that movie, the Silver Sable.
But it'll make them more.
I don't want to see Captain Marvel because this one sucks.
I would love to see a Black Cat movie and a Jessica Drew movie, but
totally
in the MCU would be the best because again, it's not that they need these characters, but having them to piggyback off of each other.
It is. Marvel has so much Disney money; they don't need to do product placement or any bullshit, and they can just focus on what they want to do.
Yeah, I think overall, I just want to address this though, but I think I really do want there to be more female-led like comic book movies.
Yeah, but
the
only good one right now is Wonder Woman, which is a good movie.
I just feel like if you do a Blackout Silver Sable, it's gonna be bad, and it's gonna make
it'll bring Captain Marvel down.
Not I don't know. I actually think it'll bring Captain Marvel.
No, I think people are starting to catch on that there's a difference between, and I think
it's going to piss off a lot of people and make outrage culture really bad to a point where even Captain Marvel
be like the Ghostbusters thing.
You know what I mean?
People are going to be like, "This is objectively a bad movie," and they're going to be like, "No, you're saying that because they're women." Like what happened with Ghostbusters?
No. Listen, when I first heard the prospect of like a female Ghostbusters movie, I genuinely
It didn't
was.
bother me at all.
I genuinely felt like if this
It just
worked,
looked like a shit movie.
It just looked like it was pandering to the lowest common denominator, which is why I'm so fucking scared about Venom and Silver Sable, because these are cool characters.
yeah.
And I feel like Sony's not only
They're not
going
gonna
to
go dark.
they're not only going to
That's my
shit the
fear.
bed in these movies, but I feel like they're going to do what Fox did with Fantastic Four, just like destroy how like non-comic book fans see these characters. Like they're just going to associate these characters with terrible quality. Like these characters suck. They're like Jonah Hex level of obscure, terrible comic book characters,
Yeah, right.
and they're not.
Isn't that Brolin?
That was Berlin
Wall.
But yeah, I just want to.
They didn't do R with Dark Tower. They didn't do R. What was the other?
Emoji Movie.
Yeah, they didn't do X with Emoji Movie.
You know
What?
something?
What was the other movie that we
Yeah.
saw that was a Sony movie and we said this should have been R?
The Mummy? No, that's Universal.
That's Universal. I don't remember. Maybe it was The Mummy. But like all these movies are afraid to go R because they're gonna lose money.
Well, Sony made Baby Driver, which was R.
But you have Edgar Wright behind that.
Right.
It's like a force.
And it
to
didn't
be
have a
reckoned
huge
with.
budget compared to something like The Dark Tower or Spider-Man.
You want
I
to do
just think
something?
they're gonna
Yeah.
get. It's just gonna be
Yeah.
some like director that's gonna be like, okay, whatever.
Well,
you say."
I think that they might make it R, but just to piggyback off of the whole Deadpool hype, like,
A
ooh, it's an
light R.
R-rated, super gritty,
like
superhero
it needs to
movie.
be like Logan levels.
Yeah,
of sad.
But it's sure, but again, like the problem with this movie is that when we talk about it, and I feel like this is the same thing that's happening at Sony, is that it has to be like this, it has to be like that, and that's at
They're
least-
unwilling to take risks with their filmmaking.
Well, and I think that's the one thing that the Marvel Cinematic Universe does have.
They've
Not
just-
that they take risks, but
They've
they
been
don't.
hemorrhaging money though, so I think they're gonna do. They might do PG-13 just to boost ticket
I
sales.
mean, maybe, but at the same time, I
I
think
hope not, but
that's what the
I don't
Marvel
know.
Universe does have. It's not that they're ambitious, which they're not, but they don't have to piggyback off the success of other
yeah,
movies.
they have so much fucking Disney
Yeah, they-
money. It
They can
doesn't
make
matter.
a movie like Guardians of the Galaxy or Ant-Man, which are fucking weird, but they can still work. And even if they weren't great, they still would make movies like that, you
Yeah.
know? So that's why I'm worried about
They have
Venom.
nothing
I
to
feel like
lose.
they're going to take a character who, for one thing, doesn't work without Spider-Man, and second of all, is going to pander to like the kind of audience that they were shooting with the Dark Tower.
Yeah, I actually want to go back before we continue with this, but in regards to Ghostbusters and other like female-led movies, like I said earlier, I want to put a disclaimer out here because I feel like certain things can be misconstrued here. All of us are in support of more respectfully represented female-led movies.
Yeah.
If someone wasn't, they'd be a moron.
Well,
but
I actually,
continue.
Right.
I actually really was excited for Atomic Blonde until reviews came out.
I was really
And I saw
excited.
parts
I
of
was
it.
excited for Ghostbusters until the trailer came out. I was like a female-led Ghostbusters
Yeah,
with
like-
like great female comedians.
and they're all four
Fuck
of
yeah.
them are funny. I mean,
Yeah.
They're all
what's the-
funny. It's just in the movie it doesn't work, but
Yeah.
like all the actresses are great. Yeah,
And to keep, just to preface one thing,
yeah.
since we're not like all huge Ghostbusters fans, we're not like we want to continue like we didn't care. So it's like, sure, Ghostbusters could be cool and like have an all female cast, good for you. But when it came out, it looked like shit. And I feel like as soon as the Venom,
There was just so much dancing.
and I feel like with the Silver Sable Black Cat movie, they're gonna push the whole feminist angle like they did with even in the Emoji Movie.
because
I feel like the Dark Tower, they're gonna just butcher it the way they did.
And I
to
feel
Venom.
like the most respectful way to do a female-led film is to have kind of like Alien with Ripley.
they're not confident in the movie. They're just gonna be like, "It's a woman, go see."
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like when you go the route of having your main lead, you know, not be objectified and just be
Yeah.
a female character who kicks ass, but without having to talk about how she's female.
Exactly.
Like, oh, she's a lady. Whoa, who knew
Yeah.
ladies could kick butt? No, just have her
like
kick butt.
Ghostbusters.
Have her be just like any other superhero or any
Yeah.
other character, and you know
Yeah.
what? It'll work.
Any movie that comes out
But
that
Sony's gonna
insults
fuck that up.
well, any movie that comes out that insults part of its audience is destined to be a failure.
Emoji Movie does it, and Sony with Black Cat and Silver Sable is going to intentionally push the feminist thing, which is I don't think it's wrong to push the feminist thing if
But
it's
to-
subtle
They should push it
you know,
themselves.
but in a
or organic.
but
you
in
know?
a condescending putting
Yeah,
down,
right.
like I don't want them to do a Ghostbusters. Just make an interesting like spy superhero movie with these two characters. Have a ball. Make a
Yeah,
Venom
right.
movie. Have it be gritty. Have it be R-rated. Do whatever you want.
And we want this shit to be good.
we do, but
You
at
know,
the
I
same
want to keep spending fucking money on bad movies.
well,
yeah, right.
Thankfully, we didn't have to buy tickets to the Emoji Movie in Dark Tower because God forbid we see those shits.
Dark Tower had so much potential to be so good.
I walked in. I saw more of the Emoji Movie than I would have.
You gotta love T.J. Miller.
No, you don't.
I really don't like
honestly,
T.J. Miller personally.
I've only seen him in Deadpool, so I was like, how bad can he be? And his voice acting was just like astonishingly bad.
Listen, he seems like a cool guy to hang out
No,
with.
I don't think so.
Oh, you don't think so? I think he seems like a cool guy to hang out with.
You should,
I don't
you
know
should see his
enough
Twitter.
about him.
He's absolutely fucking insane.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Based on what I know about him, he seems cool. This is just my
he
perception.
Just sounds bored throughout the whole
Right.
movie.
My biggest problem with him is that
He
he's
plays that
constantly bored.
emoji.
But his whole character, fucking Met Emoji, he's like has other emotions, and that's not a good thing. Because this is, Nazi Germany, and they all have to be.
Dude, this movie basically teaches you how to like.
If you're different, you will be shot by the police and possibly saved by the Twitter logo.
Well, this is what I was going to talk about. Basically, like when it comes to the Emoji Movie,
and James Corden's immortal.
Fuck him. Okay,
so
I don't know who I hate more, T.J. Miller or James Corden, but they're both fucking unlikable turds. Continue.
Yeah. Basically, like, I think something has happened in like society recently because of social like media and stuff. This is going to tie into the Emoji Movie. We're not going to get super philosophical, or not too philosophical.
Yes.
Is simply the fact that now there's been an emphasis on like facade and how you I guess appearance over like genuine substance.
Sure.
And I feel like the Emoji Movie kind of supports that kind of attitude where it's simply about like it's an ad that basically wants to make you feel insecure about yourself.
Yeah.
So you buy more Sony products or whatever. And I haven't seen the movie, so I can't say for sure, but based on everything I've heard, it seems like they're like trying to make you feel worse about yourself.
Well, from the sounds of it,
that way
the
they
movie
can sell
is
you
like
more stuff.
the movie, from what I understand, is saying that
Okay,
like
there's a
social media
There's
and
a
like
subplot where the Emoji's parents might get divorced.
lovely, but like I'm saying,
What?
Yes.
yeah, that's wow. What a movie! I'm
weird.
saying that, like, from what I understand, the movie sounds like it's using social. It's saying that social media will fix your life. Like,
They just want you to buy Just Dance, pay for Spotify Premium, go on Twitter.
gross.
Why does Sony use so much product placement? It's at a point where it genuinely is distracting. Like, even average moviegoers who aren't like us watch this shit and they're like,
It's like,
why is there a Bud Light like in the background?
Who uses a Sony Vaio laptop? Those don't exist.
Yeah, no one uses them. That's true.
That's not true. I use it all the time. Same as my BlackBerry.
Get out. It's like the Ghostbusters when they're all using the handheld Sony cameras to find ghosts.
Just
the
you
Sony
wait.
cameras can do
Okay,
anything.
Just
Wait,
wait until
wait.
Sony starts making computers that have like a Venom eyes and a mouth on the back, and they
Yeah.
charge you like an extra $200
Question:
for it.
because every Sony movie, including Life, for some reason takes place and like has a
really
sequence.
really wanted that to be like the symbiote origin.
Well, there was a rumor
I did
that was
too.
gonna
That
happen.
would've
It's not going to happen.
But again-
it's too smart for them.
Exactly, but at the
But
same
that would have
time,
been kind of actually creative.
how much money are we putting down to say that there will be a scene in Venom and in Silver and Black, because that's the name of the movie, that will take place in Times Square, because that is in every Sony movie.
It's the hub of ads.
Yeah, it's like easy marketing for just Coca-Cola and.
But
posters,
every
stuff.
ad is a Coke ad. There's like a whole building of Coke.
What if Venom's origin
Just
videos?
no, that's literally what
It's
Sony is.
the
It's
whole
just a
building
whole
of-
building of
Guys,
cocaine.
what if Venom?
It's called-
Cocaine.
What if
Coke and
Venom is
coffee.
just a living bottle of Coca-Cola? Like he just comes out of the bottle and he's Venom, or like he's some other
They have
drink.
to hire Papa John's to save the day.
Holy shit! Spider-Man just comes in, but like aside from like the eyes and the spider, instead of webbing, it's pepperoni and
It's
cheese.
disgusting.
So, like, to finish off this episode, let's try and figure out what the Venom movie will be about. So I'm thinking instead of a journalist, Eddie Brock will be a pizza delivery guy at Papa John's.
Oh god!
I really want them to do the war vet angle.
This is what I think. I think it's going to be one of two things, and I think one of them's a mixture of everything we've said.
Sure.
I think both of them are to some extent.
He's
but
a war veteran journalist, disfigured.
no,
Papa
no.
John's loving, pepperoni
No,
slinging.
I think what's going to happen
Superhero Mamma Mia!
I'm gonna kill myself.
is he's going to be a war veteran who has like some form of PTSD or something.
Sure.
And he's going to get involved just because he's, messed up after the war. He's going to get involved with mobsters, and maybe they're going to acquire like a symbiote because it's worth so much money. He's going to like steal it or something. Maybe he's going to lose it, go to jail, and in jail, when the symbiote somehow finds its way back to him, maybe there's a covert mission to get it back to him. They're going to do the classic Carnage origin story where like Cletus Cassidy gets attacked, and a little bit of symbiote goes into his bloodstream, mutates. And while Venom's like escaping and doing his own thing, you now have the Rise of Carnage. Or I think they're going to basically scrap the war vet thing and have it where he's just like a thug or something.
I was going to say, it'd be okay if he's like a enforcer or like a bounty hunter or something. Yeah,
they're not going to do the alien route though. I think they're going to go the ultimate both ways. I see them doing the ultimate route. Because I feel like if you go the alien route, it's really hard. It's way harder to justify without having Spider-Man.
Yeah. I would still, I'd like it to be loosely connected to the MCU, just reference Spider-Man. And it would be cool if Sony can nail it. Loosely connected to the MCU, kind of like Netflix.
Elseworld, I think, is the best bet.
Sure, but if they were to connect it to the MCU, what?
They're going to have Eddie Brock be one of the thugs that was robbing the ATM in Spider-Man Homecoming.
No, they all got turned into lizards by the lizard.
What are you talking about?
That was traumatic.
Mr. Gizzard, you're a wizard, Harry. Anyways.
Gizzard, he's going to take off the Thor mask, and it's Tom Hardy.
So anyways, I was thinking if they could reference the MCU, I'd say if Sony were to contribute to the MCU, make these movies, reference the MCU, don't bring any characters in, and just have it be like a more mature, hard R aspect of the universe. It's just that Marvel's hands aren't really on, touching it.
What I would want
interesting.
What I would want for the tone is for it to be kind of like surrealistic, artistically, because the symbiote can shapeshift and stuff. I'd want it to be kind of artsy. And I'd also wanted to have a thing where the humor stems from how over-the-top 90s Venom can be at moments, where, he saves a girl, or, a girl or guy or little kid from a burglar, and instead of, webbing him up, they make it, you think he's...
his arms
Yeah,
off.
They think he's about to web him up, and then he ends up just fucking eating the burglar, and that could be really funny for, some humor by making it really extreme.
Yeah.
Because the thing is Venom...
Just do Gorehouse.
Without Spider-Man, Venom's a really weird character.
Yeah.
He's really bizarre, and I feel like if they amp up the, bizarreness, it could make it so they don't even need Spider-Man in a way, because it's so different from everything else that's out, So I think, a cross between, I'd say, a Sam Raimi kind of... I know this is, terrible to say in a way, but, an Evil Dead style.
Yeah.
Mixed
that
in
could
with,
work.
Yeah, mixed
it's
in
like,
with
I'm
trying to think.
If Evil Dead,
Zombieland, because the director of Zombieland's doing
it's like Evil Dead,
or
Alien.
I want some Xenomorph type
I was
stuff.
gonna say
if
cool. Evil Dead, Zombieland dude, I guess, because he's directing it, and a little James Wan.
James Wan. I don't see for Venom.
I don't see that.
Only Conjuring James Wan.
No, that doesn't really have much to maybe more. That sounds more like Morbius, like a vampire.
Yeah, I think James Wan would kill Morbius. Yeah.
Venom's not really a horror character. He's
no, he can be.
He can be, but he's not primarily. It's not like Blade where he's fighting monsters. Venom can be cool and heroic.
What's the genre? It's not gore. I said Gorehouse before. It's not. Was it Grindhouse?
Yeah,
it could be like that.
Almost
imagine if Rob Zombie directed the Venom movie.
That would be fucking insane.
That'd be terrible.
It would be terrible.
Only if he did the...
Rob Zombie has legitimately lost his marbles.
Yeah.
He's legitimately lost his marbles, Rob Zombie.
Here's the thing. Most horror movie remakes are bad. The first Halloween remake Rob Zombie did, and the first 10 minutes of the second Halloween that Rob Zombie directed, only that first 10 minutes, that dream sequence, are fucking amazing.
There are some movies.
So he has potential.
There are some movies that exist that I feel like you can't buy anywhere, and I feel like those are two movies where they exist and you just can't buy them anywhere.
Well, the first Rob Zombie Halloween is actually one of the best horror movie remakes I've ever seen. I'm putting that out there. It's such a great remake.
I don't think I've seen.
It's worth the watch if you love slasher movies because I feel like he does the original Halloween justice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she plays Shrek.
The sequel, on the other hand,
Jesus
sequel, just watch the first 10 minutes because there's a dream sequence, and then just skip the rest of the movie.
His albums are getting weirder and weirder. I think his new one...
I don't like him as a musician.
I don't either, but his newest album thing. Okay, this is gonna probably completely wrong, but the title looked something like "Cocaine Hooker Space Cowboys 7 from Mars." Like that's literally like.
That's
like,
funny.
That's not what it's actually.
Never
called.
mind. I don't want him to direct Venom anymore.
That's not what it's actually
That's
called.
actually the working title for Shrek 5.
Jesus.
Zach, I feel like you
Starring
took
Eddie Murphy as every character.
Yeah.
I just pictured it, and that's scary.
Hercules, Hercules, Hercules.
Ew.
Do you think we've talked enough about Sony's cancer?
Yeah, because now I have cancer.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
I think we've said what needs to be
Disclaimer: I do not have cancer.
said regarding Venom and the Sony.
You can't prove that.
Shut up. Look at my
Yeah.
balls. It's not there.
Want to see my cardiogram?
No.
For those who don't know, Ben is currently turning into Venom right now, and that's why you're hearing all these sounds.
No, I'm
it's
turning
just
into
a slow
Carnage.
process.
He's turned into Tom
my
Hardy.
butt hurts from this chair.
And on that note, I think we'll end the podcast.
Yeah.
My cheeks.
What a travesty,
Shut up.
Sony.
I have a nice ass before I sat down on this bench.
Oh my god.
You know, Sony had a nice ass too at one point.
Yeah, it's called the Nut Job 1.
It's not the Statue of Liberty in Ghostbusters 2 when they bring it to life.
Wait, does that actually happen?
Yeah.
In Ghostbusters 2, have you seen the second Ghostbusters?
And then they all fuck.
But yeah.